Over the past little while, we've been exposed to a whole lot of royal drama. The monarchy across the pond has held power for ages, and in doing so has managed to weather many different storms. Lately, it seems as though a new threat to the royal family has emerged. Interviews with Oprah. A major public disclosure like the one that recently went down was destined to happen since the moment Meghan and Harry announced their departure from Buckingham Palace. This, of course, caused a lot of chaos and sparked a lot of discussion. What happens to the royal family? Where do they go? Who's the bad guy in this situation? And while a lot of those questions are worth considering and will have a variety of answers, we have a wild question coming out of left field for you. What if Meghan Markle ran for president? Yeah, it's a doozy. So let's dive right in. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, was born and raised in the United States, Los Angeles to be specific. Then she went off to Northwestern University where she kicked off her acting career, which led to a prominent role on the show Suits. After enjoying a significant amount of time as a celebrity in the United States, something happened. Meghan Markle was wooed by the one and only Prince Harry, or maybe she wooed him. Either way, the two began to court mid-2016, causing quite a bit of uproar. Plenty of stuff was said online about the two, both good and bad. Well, actually, okay, it was a lot of bad. But that's how the internet works now, isn't it? Eventually, the two were engaged to be wed, which opened up an additional can of worms. An American marrying a prince who had previously been married twice? That starred in TV dramas. Sheesh. With all this, Meghan began the process of becoming a British citizen and retired from acting. It's quite a lot to deal with, but hey, she was becoming literal royalty. Keep in mind, she never did actually revoke her US citizenship, so she married Harry and moved in with the royals. One might think that her life would be all sunshine and rainbows from then on, but apparently that was not the case. Over the next few years, her public appearances were extremely limited and she found it increasingly difficult to see friends or family. The royals are very particular about how they're seen by the public, and now Meghan was expected to follow their rules. This would probably be especially tough considering that she lived her American life up to that point, you know, the one essentially hinging on freedom and pretty much nothing else. Ah, the price you pay for power. At this point, it's a whole lot of Meghan and Harry's words against the rest of the royal families, so folks are picking sides and hunkering down. So what happens next? Well, it's a bit of a toss-up. Will these Sussexes relinquish their titles and become average individuals living outside of the Commonwealth? How does the royal family move forward from here after all this negative press? Will the good folks at Buckingham manage to keep their lineage going strong? Again, all good questions. However, with the rumor mill churning at full speed, the presidential question looms large. Apparently, even before the bombshell interview with Oprah, Meghan Markle was in talks with folks in the Democratic Party. See, I mentioned earlier that she never fully gave up her US citizenship. What seemed to be a relatively inconsequential piece of trivia at the time opens up plenty of speculation now. Could a duchess actually run for president of the United States? What would happen if she did? It's certainly a unique situation. Let's address the possibility first and then get into what the results might be. So could Meghan Markle run for president? It's looking like yes, as she is American born and raised. Just like any other American citizen, she technically has the ability to throw her hat into the ring. She also has the advantage of being a well-known public figure, which seems to play into presidential races more than one would think. Having that widespread recognition can definitely help a person in the polls, and it's hard to think of a person with a higher profile at the moment than Meghan Markle. She's also got the toolkit of a politician. She's well-spoken, quite composed, and has enough money to float a campaign. Plus, if the rumors are true, she's already well connected with established Democrats. And again, if the grapevine is feeding us good info, it's possible that she plans to step up in 2024 if Biden decides to call it quits. But does that make sense? After separating herself from the royal family, why would she immediately thrust herself back into an extremely stressful situation? In addition to the limited freedom afforded to her by the Windsors, she was also constantly under fire by different tabloids and other news outlets. Coming back to America and immediately running for president would likely put her in a very similar situation, with American rags focusing on her every move instead. Isn't getting away from scrutiny the whole point of that first move? She's even got a recently announced partnership with Netflix, which seems to indicate that politics might not be front of mind. Still, if she did end up running for president, it would be a fascinating ride indeed. The attention from both American and British people would be unparalleled. I can see the media shitstorm now. Cries from Americans saying she's a traitor and a coward for leaving in the first place. Folks from Britain claiming that she deserves to be destitute for swearing allegiance to the royal family and then returning home. People saying that she's the next big progressive political star and then holding her to none of her progressive claims. It would be non-stop chaos if that bid was announced. Although, through name recognition alone, it wouldn't be too surprising if she did well in the polls. We've seen quite recently how a fringe contender can make it big if enough people know who they are. Could Meghan Markle win the presidency, or even the Democratic nomination? It's hard to say. She's been all over the world doing different things, so managing to score a gig as the head of an American political party wouldn't be that mind-blowing, would it? She'd be super polarizing in that position for sure, but let's be real. What politician isn't super polarizing these days? To summarize, if Meghan Markle ran for president, she'd have to give up her title as Duchess of Sussex, lean into her American citizenship, and prepare for a whole lot of drama from all sides. It would be a difficult race to win, but it wouldn't be all that surprising if she managed to pull it off. So what do you think of it all? Will Meghan sever her British ties and go all in at home? Will the world melt down as spectacularly as I'm imagining? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more interesting ones from What If the Kraken Was Discovered on Mars? Meme Lord 69 says, less likely scenario, a robot Kraken driving in a Tesla on Mars. No, I think Elon Musk is probably already planning a publicity stunt like that. Vashna March says, do what if George Washington was 20 stories tall and made of radiation? Made of radiation? You gotta be a little more specific. Emperor Puyi says, according to an old story, the Kraken seems to live in a place called water. You feeling alright? Seems like there might be a few screws loose over there. Cyberplays says, I misread it and thought it said Karen, not Kraken, which in my opinion would be scarier. And a lot more likely too, which probably doesn't bode well for any potential Mars dwellers. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.